All right, let's dive into this Etigilimab thing. It seems like a pretty cool new way to treat cancer. We've got some info here from Assay Genie. They're all about the research tools for this kind of science.
Yeah, Assay Genie's great for that.
So basically, it's all about helping your body's own immune system fight cancer better.
Right. Exactly. And what's really interesting about etigilimab is that, well, you see, cancer cells can actually hide from the immune system.
Oh, wow. Like they have some kind of invisibility cloak or something?
Kind of. It's this molecule, TDIT. Think of it like a fake ID badge that cancer cells use to trick the immune system.
Tricky little buggers, huh? So how does Etigilimab come in?
Well, etigilimab is a monoclonal antibody. It basically blocks TGY so the immune system can see the cancer cells for what they are.
So it's like Etigilimab rips off the mask and the cancer cells are exposed?
Yeah, you could say that. And once those cancer cells are unmasked, the immune system's T cells and natural killer cells can get to work.
That's pretty amazing. But this is all very cutting edge, right? I mean, how accessible is Etigilimab for research right now?
Well, that's where biosimilars come in. They're like, generic versions of these complex drugs, right? Just as good, but way more affordable.
Oh, okay. So researchers don't need a ton of funding to work with this.
Right. And Assay Genie, they're really good at providing these biosimilars, including one for etigilimab.
That's great. So more people can get involved in the research. And are they already looking at using Etigilimab for different types of cancer?
Oh, yeah. They're investigating it for a whole bunch of solid tumors. Lung cancer, melanoma, head and neck cancers, you name it.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. It sounds like Etigilimab is already doing a lot on its own, but I hear they're also using it with other therapies.
You're right. Combining etigilimab with other immunotherapies, especially those targeting the PD-1 pathway, is showing huge potential.
Oh, so it's like a double whammy. Makes sense, hitting those cancer cells from different angles.
Precisely. And when you combine it with a PD-1 inhibitor, well, it's not just about removing that disguise anymore. It's like giving your immune system a power boost, too.
Okay, now that's really interesting. So there's even more to how Etigilimab works then. I'm curious to hear more about that power boost.
Well, it turns out etigilimab doesn't just block those negative signals from TIGIT, it can actually enhance the positive ones, too. There's this other receptor, CD226, and it basically tells the immune system to attack.
Ooh, so there's like this battle going on between these receptors.
Yeah, exactly. And usually TIGIT wins, but etigilimab can tip the scales in favor of CD226.
Gotcha. So it's a multi-level attack.
You got it. Etigilimab is doing a lot more than we initially thought, and that's what makes it so exciting.
This is amazing. So Etigilimab is playing a much bigger role than just blocking that TIGIT thing. I can't wait to hear more about how this all works.
Me too, and it's all thanks to research. Companies like Etigilimab are really pushing the boundaries.
Absolutely. Well, we'll definitely have to dive deeper into this chain reaction and how it all works. This is getting good.
It's like, you see, etigilimab, it doesn't just like block the bad signals, it actually makes the good ones stronger too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's this other receptor thing. It's called CD226, and it's basically like the opposite of TIGIT. It's like, sending those go-get-'em signals to the immune system.
So it's like a tug of war between those two receptors, huh?
You got it. And usually TIGIT's winning, but etigilimab comes in and bam, it tips the scales towards CD2226.
Oh, I see. So by blocking TIGIT, Etigilimab is letting CD2226 do its thing and like supercharge the immune response.
Exactly. It's pretty cool how that works. And it seems like it's especially effective in patients who haven't responded to other immunotherapies.
Wow. So for those people who have tried everything else, this could be a real game changer, right?
Yeah, it really could be. And we're seeing some pretty encouraging results in early clinical trials, especially when it's combined with a PD-1 inhibitor, that 1-2 punch we were talking about earlier.
Right, right. So some patients are actually seeing their tumors shrink
Right.
and they're living longer.
That's what the data's showing, yeah. But of course, like with any new treatment, there are going to be some challenges.
Well, sure, I bet. Like what kind of challenges are we talking about?
Well, one of the big ones is figuring out which patients are actually going to respond well to the treatment. Everyone's immune system is a little different, and we don't really know for sure why it works better for some people than others.
So it's kind of like we're still figuring out the personalized medicine aspect of it all, right? Trying to find the right treatment for each person.
Exactly. That's a huge focus in research right now, finding those biomarkers that can tell us who's going to benefit the most. And of course, it's still early days with the clinical trials. We need bigger studies, longer follow-ups, all that stuff.
Makes sense. It's like we're just scratching the surface here.
Mm-hmm.
But the potential is huge. And this whole idea of using the immune system to fight disease, It feels like we're just getting started, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. This kind of immunotherapy approach, it's not just for cancer, you know? Scientists are looking at using it for all kinds of things. Autoimmune disorders, infectious diseases, even Alzheimer's.
Wow, really? That's incredible. It could revolutionize medicine as we know it.
It really could. And Etigilimab is a perfect example of how fast this field is moving. We're constantly learning more about the immune system, finding new ways to tweak it to fight disease.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. So we've covered a lot, but what are the key takeaways you want our listeners to remember about Etigilimab?
Well, first of all, I think it shows that we're changing how we think about treating cancer, right? We're not just trying to kill cancer cells directly anymore. We're helping the body fight back on its own.
Right, so it's about working with the immune system, not against it.
Exactly. And secondly, Etigilimab, it's actually working in clinical trials, especially when you combine it with other therapies. We're seeing good results in patients who haven't had any luck with other treatments.
So it's offering hope where there wasn't any before.
Exactly. And lastly, I think it's important to remember that Etigilimab is just one piece of the puzzle. Immunotherapy is a huge field, and we're just starting to understand what it can do.
It's exciting to think about what the future holds, that's for sure. Now, for our listener who wants to dive deeper into all this, where's the best place to start?
Well, SAGN's website is a great resource. They've got tons of information on Etigilimab, biosimilars, all that stuff. We'll make sure to include a link in the show notes.
Awesome. Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question. If Etigilimab can wake up the immune system to fight cancer, what else could it do? I mean, what other diseases could we potentially target with this kind of approach? It really makes you think, doesn't it? If we can unlock this power in the immune system, who knows what we could achieve?
It is amazing, isn't it? And Etigilimab is really just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more out there.
I know, right? I keep hearing about this CAR T-cell therapy thing. What's that all about?
Oh, RT cell therapy. That's some really cool stuff. It's basically like they take your own T cells and they give them a special upgrade, so
Yeah.
they can target cancer cells directly.
Like tiny little assassins going straight for the cancer.
Yeah, kind of. And it's showing some really promising results, especially for certain types of leukemia and lymphoma. But there's other stuff too, like cancer vaccines.
Cancer vaccines?
Yeah.
So you can, train your immune system to fight cancer before it even shows up.
That's the idea. It's pretty wild, huh?
It is. So with all these different options, how do doctors know which one to use?
Well, it's all about personalized medicine. They look at your tumor, your immune system, and try to figure out what's going to work best for you.
So it's not one size fits all.
Nope. It's all about finding the right tool for the job.
That makes sense. But I bet there's still a lot of challenges with all this, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. One of the big ones is side effects. Because you're basically revving up the immune system, it can sometimes go a little overboard and attack healthy tissue too.
So it's you got to find the right balance. Too much of a good thing and all that.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of cost. A lot of these treatments are still really expensive.
Which means not everyone can access them. That's a problem.
It is. And I think education is important too. There's still a lot of people who don't really understand immunotherapy.
Yeah, we need to make sure people have the right information.
Yeah.
So even though there are challenges, it sounds like the future of immunotherapy is pretty bright.
Oh, absolutely. We've made so much progress in just the last few years. It's incredible.
I know. This has been such a fascinating deep dive. I'm feeling a mix of awe and optimism, awe at how complex the immune system is, and optimism about what we can do with it.
I know what you mean. It's an exciting time to be in this field, that's for sure.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
Yeah.
This has been really enlightening.
Happy to do it. Always love talking about immunotherapy.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of Etigilimab and immunotherapy. We hope you learned something new today.
And remember, never stop learning. Keep exploring and stay curious.
And until next time, may your immune system be strong and your curiosity even stronger.